When I was a kid, I spent the majority of my childhood, the youngest of 4 siblings, in a pretty impoverished family, and I pretty much had to teach myself everything that I needed to know to be successful. And the reason why I bring that up is that there are some things I wish I could have known beforehand that I didn't have to learn by trial and error. And in the past on this channel, I've made videos about investing, side hustles, how to start a business. And one of the first things I wish I would have known as a teenager was the idea of learning how to learn. And this doesn't simply mean learning how to be good in school. Even as a child, I was always a competitive person. I wanted to be the best in sports, the best at video games, the best in my class. And because I wanted to compete so much, that led to me being a good student, but it didn't always translate to being a good learner. The idea of learning how to learn speaks to the idea of specifically learning effectively. You're putting the things that you experience in your life into effect, whether they are positive or negative experiences, and you're using those experiences to make your life better. It doesn't do much good to read 1,000 books and never actually implement the ideas that they are teaching. So learning how to implement the things that you experience in your life effectively is one of the things I wish I would have known early on. And then as teenagers, and I'm speaking for myself now, I tended to spend a lot of time focusing on the uncontrollable. One of my biggest goals when I was growing up was to be like my older brother and to get a Division I scholarship to play basketball. So the only thing I would think about even as a kid was how I could get to that level of basketball, how I could get coaches to come to my small high school, and the only thing that I really needed to do to achieve my goal was to focus on the things that I can control. Back then, I couldn't control whether or not a coach decided to come to my high school to watch me play basketball. But what I could control was my performance in that basketball game. And by not allowing the things that you can't control cloud your judgment, your feelings, and your overall performance in life, you are able to master the things that you can control, and in turn, you will feel more positive and have a better direction on where your life is taking you. And as always, as you're focusing on the things that you can't control, one of the biggest things that you have in your control is your ability to be kind to others. At some point in your life, even as a teenager, you will find yourself in a position where you will have to choose to be kind. And for some people, it comes more easily than others, but you may encounter someone who is rude to you. You may encounter someone who is just downright disrespectful, and instead of retaliating, I wish I would have known to be kind more. Because as the old saying goes, 2 wrongs do not make it right, and fighting fire with fire is never a great idea. And then understanding the benefits of being kind, the connection that you can build, the amount of open doors and opportunities that you can find just by being nice and being referred by other people, it will allow you to get a lot further in life, especially early on when internships and new job offers are such a big deal than it would be if you let your pride get in the way and overall try to get a short-term win to the detriment of your long-term reputation. But understand, as I understood, that nobody is perfect. You are designed to be perfectly imperfect, and because of that, as a teenager, you do not need to shy away from making mistakes. You need to make mistakes in order to learn. You need to make mistakes in order to live, because if you live your life so cautiously that you never make a single mistake, then you'll be better off not living at all. Mistakes are designed to be made, but as we go back to the first point, once we make those mistakes, we need to make an effort to learn effectively from those mistakes so that if they happen in the future again, they won't be as bad that time around. And honestly, making mistakes are unavoidable anyway, so if you can't control if you make them or don't make them, then you're better off looking at it with a glass half full perspective instead of downing yourself from that idea. But I think that the most important thing that you can do as a teenager is invest in yourself. Take an online course, buy that book you want to read. In your teens, you have so much time and so much life left to live that if you choose to invest in yourself, invest in your craft early, and you choose to become absolutely great at whatever you're good at right now, over time your skills will begin to compound, and as compound interest continue to work in your life, by the time you look back at how far you have come, you will be miles ahead of what you could have even imagined yourself doing at that point where you were once a teenager. And being able to invest in yourself doesn't always have to involve money. As a teenager, your resources are definitely going to be limited depending on what kind of background you grew up into. If you grew up like me where you didn't have a lot of money to spare, this is where you can get creative and take advantage of public libraries. You can take advantage of resources like YouTube where so much information is left out there for free. Then you can use the greatest and most abundant resource that you have right now, which is your time. And once you combine time and effort, you now have a formula to become something incredible. And as you begin to invest more and more in yourself, one of the things that I wish I would have known as a teenager that I'm definitely trying to implement in myself myself now is how important it is to be consistent. Consistency is so underrated in today's age. I once saw a quote, I think it was by The Rock or Andrew Tate or someone, that says the man who shows up at the gym every day, even when he doesn't feel like it, will always beat the man that shows up only when he feels like it. And what this says to me is that if you can build a system to be consistent over a long-term period of time, as I mentioned before, your efforts will definitely compound. Your skills will compound. You will get better with time, and not even focusing on the money right now. The money will come, but as your skills grow and as you follow the passion of what you're good at, you will definitely be living a more fulfilling and more successful life simply by showing up. What I'm working on in my personal life right now is making my goal non-negotiable. One of my goals on this YouTube channel is to reach 100,000 subscribers. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, I cannot control how many people subscribe to the channel. But what I can control is the amount of content that I make, how consistent I am, and how often I choose to learn and get better. So the idea is that if I constantly analyze my old videos, analyze the videos that I'm posting now, and find a new way to get better each day, then over time I cannot lose. Maybe it'll take me 10 years longer than someone else does, but the same with your goals. If you consistently work towards them, you will reach them all the same. And at the same time of being consistent, you also want to challenge yourself. You want to give yourself a goal that excites you, a goal that you can barely reach so that you don't find yourself bored with your objective. Yes, my goal could be 1 million subscribers, and that probably will be the next step after the 100,000 subscriber goal, but it's also something that I personally been working towards since I started YouTube almost 4 years ago. So having something, as I mentioned as a kid, of being a D1 basketball player, something that you can get up every day, work towards, and give your all for, and only get a 0.5% closer to, that is something that can fuel your fire for years and years. And once you reach that goal and you see all of the work that you put in to get to that goal, you will be ready to accomplish 10 times more. And as you're accomplishing more and as you're reaching your goals, what I wish I would have known, especially in my teens, was to be patient. As a teenager, life seems so brand new. You get your first taste of adulthood, and if you're like me, you've been watching YouTube channels for a while and you've been on Instagram scrolling, seeing everyone live these fabulous lifestyles, but you need to understand that your timeline is very long. You need to be patient and let your life play out as you work towards them. As you're being consistent and challenging yourself, this timeline could be 5 to 10 years before you reach your first goal. And if you're getting discouraged within the first week or two, then you're just setting yourself up for failure because your timeline is way too short. And as you start to lengthen your timelines, one life lesson that I think everyone should know, not even teenagers, is the idea that before you leave this earth, you need to build something. I want to have something that I built from the ground up that's not attached to some other reputation, that I can say that I built from complete scratch, from zero to something amazing. Giving yourself something to build, whether it's a reputation, whether it's a business, whether it's anything, and whatever you build should definitely align with your passion in life. It should align with what makes you feel happy in the morning. It should align with what you think about in the shower. And as you build it throughout your life, you will feel a sense of accomplishment and a sense of pride of who you are as a human being. And the last life lesson is to just have fun. Don't take your teens or even your 20s too seriously. You are here to learn. You're here to make mistakes. You are here to do the wrong thing and to learn in order to be successful. No one is going to judge you for doing the wrong thing. And if they do, you don't even have to care about what they think anyway. Just move forward and continue to build. And if you found anything of value in this video, I ask that you hit that subscribe button. And if you do stick around, I'll see you in the next video, guys.